We exist. Hooray. As you can see, new camera angle. I've got the windows open. Well, I don't have them open, but I have the blinds open. We got windows open on the other end of the house because it's real nice out today. We got that spring weather, and I like having the actual sun in here. So, we're changing up our camera angle so you're not getting flashbanged by the sun if I have the blinds open, and I also get to still have the nice sunlight. Plus, we get to see the Bingus. You gonna say hi, Bingus? Yeah, go Bingo. This is the Bingo. You go, baby. Yes, you're a good baby too, baby mans. Everybody sees you all the time. Yes, they do. They sees you all the time. Oh my, hi, hello. Hello. Oh, is that how we feel? You like this one better? Is it just because Bingus is here? You just like it because Bingus is here. It's actually very inconvenient for me, because in order for me to be in frame, I have to be scooted way over here by Bingus, and then I'm all up in her face. Usually, you guys are on this stick over here in the corner, because there's a gap between the end of my desk and the wall. And then my laptop usually sits here, and you guys get this view of the room. But sure, I guess, if you guys just want to see desk and wall and Bingus, that's fine too. But oh yeah, Bingus is always a wonderful plus. Yes, you are. Say you're always a wonderful plus. Forrest is mad because she's getting all the attention. The only thing I don't like is that I take up 90% of the camera by existing. So it is what it is. But I feel like it's a good view of what's going on my desk, at least. I feel like that was kind of hard to get before. If you couldn't tell, we're working on a tiger tail today for Donz. I did do his bodysuit before. I don't think I streamed too much of that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. Ha! Smiler or Roxy related on the wall. I don't think so. It's not really my thing. Although, if I do keep this the thing is I can't put anything on this. Like, I can't nail anything through this wall because we have a bunch. Like, this is where our water pipes are. There's actually a little door on the other side of my desk. That's why, actually, I can show you guys. Oh, you guys can see. So I actually had to modify this desk. The desk naturally ends here. That's why there's a lip here. I put the lip here so Bingus's chair would fit where it always sits, because she likes sitting there. But let me show you guys a little sneaky secret. I am not a carpenter in the slightest, which is why this wood is shit. It's not cut very well, but you know, for my second time ever in my life handling a handsaw, not bad. Bingus, can you move, please? She's like, I don't want to. She's so coming. Can you up? Can you come here, please, so I can show them? Bingo. Forrest. God damn it. Guys, come on. Up. Go. Oh, good Bingo. Yeah, I know. You were so comfy. Oh, I know it. Come here. Out of your chair, please, so I can show them. Thank you. So, what I've actually done, because this door over here, we need to be able to access it whenever there's plumbing issues. And then this is just, oh, that's not what I wanted. I want the bottom. This is the arm for my microphone whenever I use that, which is very rare, actually. I don't use it almost ever. But this whole chunk of desk is from my old desk, because it was doing the same thing that the current desk is doing, so I bought a new version because I really like this particular desk. The new one is not as nice as the old one was, but that's because this one was like 10 years old. But what I've done is I've made an arm so it drops down, and then we can access this door here if we ever need to get into whatever plumbing is back there and access it. But it's nice because then I get extra space on my desk just by popping it up. Woo! And Bingus, I gotta move your chair back, babe. Up, please. You can get back in your chair in a second. You goofball. There we go. Now you can get in your chair. So, this is not actually her chair. This is my father-in-law's chair, but it's her favorite spot in the office, so that's where she likes to live. Some people are saying that Alton's closing Runaway Mine Train after 30 years of operation. Others are saying they're not. See, I do not know much about Alton Towers coasters. Like, I don't know most of them off the top of my head. But I would not be surprised if they are, because most coasters do not last particularly long, especially the newer ones. Like, you might have a handful of coasters, like, for example, Blue Streak at Cedar Point. That one's the oldest coaster in the park, and that one was built, I want to say, in the 60s? If I remember right. But most of the coasters at Cedar Point are less than 30 years old, because the issue is when you have, especially with modern roller coasters that are 30 years old now, they have electronics that are outdated, or like safety features that are outdated need to be updated. But even then, roller coasters being high-speed vehicles on tracks just have a lot of wear and tear, and more often than not, it's cheaper for a park to absolutely like just take out the entire coaster and either rebuild it completely or build a new one, which is what happened with Top Thrill Dragster. That one is a particularly high wear and tear coaster, so it makes more sense for them to replace it with the sequel rather than just keep repairing it. Right, a lot of those coasters are turning on. You could always use command strips to hang up pictures on the wall. That is true. I could do that, especially if I plan on doing smaller picture frames. There is a singular screw that has been in that wall since we moved in, and I'm not touching it. But it does stick out enough that if I wanted to, I could probably hang up my cork board, and then it would end right out of frame. It would be high enough up that it would be exactly out of frame, and you guys wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So, but I do have like pictures, furry stuff pictures that I could put on this wall with some little command strips that are in smaller little picture frames. We'll see. We'll see what the vibes are. I generally don't want to put stuff on this wall. I might put some towards the corner, but I don't want to put stuff right in front of me here, because if I have a fursuit here that's, you know, being rotated and stuff, its ears might whack picture frames off the wall, and that's no good for anybody. Plus, I like having a white background for taking photos whenever I'm taking desk photos, either the white background or the black background. It just makes them look nicer, crispier, more professional, I guess. Of course, I always, if I do get photos for the website, I try my best to get them outside. Because that's where you get the best lighting, is outside. And the dogs have finally settled and they're all comfy. Forrest does have a cut of fur that he's currently cuddling with. So I've officially put it in my queue that he is going to be getting a fur pelt blanket to lay on, because he really likes laying on the fur like a spoiled brat that he is. So we're going to make him his own fur blanket that he can cuddle with, so he stops cuddling with all of the fur that I'm trying to use for fursuits. Yeah, spoiled baby. I know the original Nemesis, we read that one. When I decide to fixate on roller coasters that are a different continent away from me. How it goes. That's why I don't mess with that. I focus on the stuff that I can drive to. Which that does suck, is I lived in Germany for a few years, but most of them were when I was really young. But when we went back when I was in my teenage years, we didn't actually stay long enough and actually live there long enough for me to get into stuff. Like, we went to Legoland Deutschland and that was about it. But if we had stayed there longer, shoot, that's a hop and a skip to get to fucking UK, you know? Plus, I'm sure Europe has all of its own crazy-ass coasters. Aside from Alton. Plus, then you got the Asian coasters. China does not give a shit. There is a new coaster. It's technically supposed to be record-breaking height, but they kind of cheated a bit. Because it's supposed to have like a 600-foot drop. But the issue is, it starts at the top of what's essentially a cliffside, and then it runs down the side of the cliff. So ultimately, the actual height of the coaster is not more than a couple hundred feet. But the drop from top to bottom is over 600 feet. I believe that might, if I remember. I don't know that they built it yet. They're talking about building it. But it's somewhere in, I want to say it's in Singapore. Might be Thailand, though. Somewhere out that way. I haven't paid too much attention to it, because, well, I'm never going to go to it. And, again, it feels very cheaty if they try to say that's the tallest coaster in the world, because that's on a fucking technicality. Is it really the tallest if the actual coaster itself is only, like, 150 feet? You could say it has the tallest drop, that's fine. But they better not be trying to call that shit the tallest coaster, because that's dumb. Cat Island. Dude, I would go to Cat Island in a heartbeat. I'm pretty sure there's multiple Cat Islands, but I know the one you're talking about specifically. I used to want to go to Japan when I was younger, but I don't know that that's ever going to happen just because it's, first off, a really long fucking flight, but also, I don't like a lot of, I'm a very picky eater just in general, not super picky, but like seafood is not it. And like genuine ramen, not my thing. I am very fucking happy for bagged Maruchan. That's all I want. Bagged Maruchan. But like actual genuine like Japanese cuisine, it just does not sit well with me. I'm not a big fan of the flavors they tend to have. I'm not a big fan of the textures. It gives me the heebies and jeebies. And I'm not big on seafood in the first place, and they do a lot of seafood over there. Which is also my issue with Italy, because you go to Italy and you're like, pasta. Which, sometimes, yeah, pasta, but most of the time, seafood. I don't really eat seafood. I like crab. Crab is awesome. And like little popcorn shrimps, but I can only have so many popcorn shrimps before I think too hard about the poop inside of them, and then I can't eat them anymore. Because a lot of times they don't devein the popcorn shrimps, which means they still have their intestinal tracts, which means they're still full of poop, and then you're eating poop shrimp. And it's probably fine, because let's face it, their poop is basically just algae, but poop shrimp. And then big shrimp, like butterfly shrimp that they do devein, I like it, but it's very much like eggs for me. Like, I don't know if you guys ever have the issue where, like, if you eat eggs and then you're suddenly through, like, your third egg of, like, scrambled eggs, and you're suddenly like, oh no, the egg is textured. Like, eggs have a very specific texture, and I don't, like, normally I love eggs, but every once in a while my brain just goes, suddenly this is the worst food on the planet. And that happens to me after about, like, a single butterfly shrimp. I will eat it, and then suddenly it's just slightly too rubbery, and I can't. And it's like, no, but I like the flavor of shrimp. Smiler has an arm where the fingers of it are syringes. I bought syringes to do it, but should I do another backup handsaw without the syringes in case? Oh, backup hand paw. I see, because, yeah. I would, just because I feel like that might be a safety concern. Even if they're not real syringes and they're dulled, they can still be considered a weapon because they are thin and stabby, even when not sharpened. That's actually why you can't bring metal crochet hooks or knitting needles onto airplanes. Knitting needles especially, but they do not differentiate because everybody looks at a crochet hook and goes, oh, a knitting needle. So it doesn't fucking matter. You can't bring a metal crochet hook onto a plane because it's considered a weapon because it is a metal stick that could in fact be jabbed into somebody. Granted, I think cons are a lot more lax than planes, but they might still not like the idea of a particularly stabby syringe. Oh, like the plastic one. Oh, you mean like for the baby medicine syringes, not like a long tapered syringe. See, I was picturing like a medical syringe, not like a little cold medicine for the toddler syringe. Gotcha. Well, yeah, that's fine then. I mean, the real question then at that point is, do you think it's gonna function? Do you think you'll be able to actually get it to work? And how worried are you about the dexterity in it? Because like if that's a concern, then yeah, make a backup hand paw. Or, you know, just put some finger escapes in it. But if not, then I wouldn't worry about it, you know? Can I help you, Miss Ma'am? No, you're so wicked, I don't know if you guys can see her tail wiggy wag. Are you a good girl? You guys see her tail? Can you see it? Am I in the way still? You can see the shadow of it. You're a good girl. You're the bestest baby that ever lived. Yes. Eeh. Scoot. She has been very sick lately. And we're not sure why. But she's still happy. She's still running around. We go outside. She starts jumping and shit. She's more active than she's ever been. But she has been sick, so we're a little worried. Yes, we are, Grandma. We're a little worried about you. When I make a cool suit but can't move my hands in it, this is the second time. I was gonna say, because that was the issue you had with Roxy, wasn't it? I find that's generally an issue with, oh, did she hear outside? Did she perk up when I said go outside and play? Yeah. You see her get her airplane ears turned on. Maybe we'll get some food. Get some treats. Maybe we'll go play. Go to Walmart. Go to the dollar store. No, Bingle, no, we're not going anywhere. I'm lying. Don't get up. Don't get up, babe. Oh, you don't get to go to the dollar store ever because you scream at people. They do get to go to Walmart. We do curbside, so they get to hang out in the car while we get our groceries picked up. They don't go in the store. Bingus used to because she was a service dog, but Forrest, unfortunately, will never get to be a service dog at this rate because somebody likes to scream at people and then complain that he doesn't get to go places. It's like, well, if you weren't a fucking nuisance in public. But I digress. Are you comfy, Bingle? Yeah. It is very nice here. It's actually, I can find out exactly how warm it is. Give me the weather. It is 67 right now, and that's the high for today. So probably won't be streaming for too long. It's supposed to drop right back down to the 30s tomorrow, which is why for those who live in Tornado Alley or, you know, here in Michigan even, because we are technically part of it now. That's why there's a bunch of warnings saying that, hey, there's probably going to be some really bad weather tomorrow. Because it's going from 60 to 30. And there's supposed to be rain. So, may or may not be some tornadoes. Forrest, get over here. He's bitching and whining now because I said all the good words. Hi. You need to stop throwing a fit. You need to stop it. You need to stop throwing a fit. Hello, baby. Oh, you stink! Why is your breath so bad? Why does it smell like you eat shit? Go lay down. Oh, the stinkiest breath. I know it. Well, I'm glad you guys are warm, but it's a little chilly here. It's nice today. We got the doors open. We're letting the breeze come through. Get the dog smell out of the house. God knows, I've been cooped up all winter. We need to actually, like, deep clean the house for spring. Because God knows we need it. Need to take the rugs out and beat the shit out of them, all that good stuff. There we go. Would you lay down? All the way. Now. Come lay down. You butthole. Good lord. Thank you. Good boy. Apparently, don't ever say words around him because he just loses his fight. He's just pacing back and forth now. Driving me nuts. You need to settle. You need to calm down. Yeah, chill your titties. Calm your fucks. Yeah. Did you just perk up at titties? You fucking whore. A nice 78 with a breeze. See, we've got 60 with wind because we live by farm fields. So there's dick and diddly stopping it. But you know, it is what it is. If any, do you know of any clear fabric to give a plastic look? I would recommend vinyl. Big Z does sell multiple gauges of vinyl, so you can buy thin vinyl if you want it to be more floppy, or thicker vinyl if you want it to be more stable. I think the thinnest they sell is like 1 millimeter though, or 2 millimeter, which is pretty thin, and that should be mostly flexible. The issue you have with vinyl is that when you stitch through it, that hole remains. It does not seal. It's not like cotton or anything like that. When you sew, it's like leather, you know, treat it like leather. Bitch, stop complaining while you're dead. He lays down and goes, meh. He's literally corpsing right now. He's on his side just, meh. Fucking brat. Good lord. Mind you, they've been outside today. They have. Stop breathing, please. Good lord. You guys and your stanky ass breath. Everybody needs a breath stick later. We don't even have breath sticks. But if the issues with thin vinyl like that are, first off, if you sew through it, it's sewn through. You have to be very confident in your stitching. Second, because if you go super thin like that, it's more likely to tear because it is essentially just a sheet of plastic. Which is what's going to happen if you get plastic. You could also go for something sheer and not necessarily plasticky. You could go for something sheer and shiny, like, not taffeta. I don't know, but Big Z has a lot of sheer fabrics, so you could also look into those, or lace. But if you really want that plasticky look, you're going to want vinyl, because that's pretty much what there is. Not a whole lot of options on that front, but that's what they use for like the Ida bags and stuff like that. Which those usually do, I want to say, a 30 gauge. Don't ask me what the gauges are, they make no sense to me. I was planning on buying some eventually, because I have plans. And also, you know, tail covers. You never know when you need a tail cover done, but there we go. It really just depends on what exactly you're planning to do. Oh, and suddenly it is nap time in my brain. Oh, good lord, I'm eepies. We did wake up late today. Somebody, again, Bengus has been sick, so, she did keep me up a little bit last night, tossing and turning. She got up and asked to go out at 3 a.m., so... And by asked to go out, I mean she ran out of the bedroom and just kind of was out there, so... She's got yucky tummy going again. But she was kind of up and uncomfortable throughout the night last night, I noticed, so... Kind of sleeping shallowly, just in case she needed to get up and go, but you only had to get up the one time, which is good. Would have been better if we didn't have to, but you know, yucky tummy is as yucky tummy does, only so much we can do. Ads, no! I know it. And it's been going on for weeks now, like it's been well over a month. We've been to the vet multiple times, they've put her on multiple medications and stuff. I can't afford to keep taking her back for more tests. Because the only other thing they could possibly do is like a B vitamin test. And I've already spent well over $1,000 on vet bills and medications for her at this point. I do not have the extra cash at the moment to take her in for another vet visit, just for them to tell us that her results came back fine, like always. They're like, she's literally the healthiest dog we've ever seen. And I'm like, cool, that doesn't help me. Plus, I'm sure she's not a fan of going and getting stabbed every 5 seconds. She likes the vet. She's a good girl. She loves the vet. She's so good for it. She stands nice and still for the needles. She just lets it happen. wags her tail very sad and pathetically during it, even. Like, she'll be like, yeah, yeah, oh. Well, that sucks. Like, she'll still be wagging her tail, but she'll be very upset that she's now getting stabbed with a needle. So, you know, there's not a whole lot we can do. And honestly, with her being a lab mix, and with her being as old as she is, it's entirely possible that it could be, like, intestinal cancer or something. It is your tail! Hello, hello. I'm glad you could make it in. We've got 3 whole pieces together. And he's looking a little scrunkly. He needs a good brushing. But here I can actually brush out, because this is the base of the tail where it meets the body. Shoop shoop. Ta-da, tail. Very nice, exquisite. If her system has the nervous, it might. I don't think it has the nervous, because it's kind of just been the huge here. Like, we did leave him home for over the weekend quite a bit. They did get to stay with the father-in-law and hang out, but that's not particularly out of the norm, and she's never had an upset stomach over it before. Plus, you know, she wasn't left by herself, and we know she has separation anxiety, and when she's by herself, she will eat walls, which is why they're caged. Our dogs always get caged if nobody else is home. Four. Okay. The hard part is just keeping track of how these pieces connect, and thankfully this tail is, I don't want to say fairly simple, because that's not true. It's got 40 pieces that have to be sewn together. I have done more complicated tails. I've done tails that are upwards of 60 to 80 pieces. But for a tail, it's not super complicated, because first off, it's reflected. Second off, what is the direction? This is the fur direction. Okay, cool. The pieces all kind of go across like this, right? So I don't have any particularly weird pieces that don't connect from edge to edge, right? Like, they connect either edge to edge, or it's this little triangle, and that's it. There's no, like, funky wraparound weird shit going on. I too eat walls when I'm nervous. I don't think that's healthy. Pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. It's not medically advised. But I can't stop you. But, no, Bingus is a good girl. She just got yucky tummy. She's been having a blast lately. We've been going out. She found some sticks in the backyard now that the snow is melted. So we go out there, we throw the frisbee for Forrest. Guys, calm down. I can't talk about it. We go outside. We go outside. And she finds sticks. And we throw the frisbee for Forrest. And they run around and they have fun. Because if I say anything any louder, the dogs will kill me. They're staring at me right now, both of them. You can't see Forrest, but he's just... And I'm like, no, I don't want it. He's a little creep like that. He likes to just be a cryptid. He will go stand across the room, or even sit across the room, and he'll just... And like all day long, he just sits there. And he'll stare at you, and occasionally pant in your general direction. Her side eye, of course. I hydrate, I have Le Coke. And as you can see, it's the special Coke. This is the caffeine-free shit. It's what I always drink. I always drink the caffeine-free stuff. She's like, I don't want to look at you. Are you being a good girl? Are you? Are you being a good girl? You look like you're being bad. Why do you look so guilty, babe? Were you thinking about crimes? Were you thinking about felonies? What kind of felonies? Money laundering? Tax evasion? Oh, it was tax evasion. You like tax evasion? No, the best Coke is the Coke at the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. That is the best Coke. Specifically the glass bottle they give you out of the factory. But, you know, also the room. The room before is also pretty good. But definitely those fresh-ass bottles that you watch get made, those are the freshest fucking shit. The Atlanta Coke Museum, which I believe is also Coke's headquarters last I checked, is directly across the street from the Georgia Aquarium. So they usually do a combo pass. And I tell you what, when we go down there, we're probably going to drag Noah to the aquarium. Well, we're not probably. We are dragging Noah to the aquarium because we're going down for FWA this year. And that's part of FWA is you can pay extra to go to the aquarium and suit. And I'm like, we're fucking doing it. We're going to the aquarium as part of the con. But after the con, because we're not in any rush to go anywhere, we're just going to drive a state over before we come back up. We're going to go to the Coke Museum, because if there's one thing he likes, it's museums. And if there's one thing we both like, it's Coke. The drink, not the cocaine. Dude, so the Coke Museum has, at the very end of the tour, there is the room of drinking. Well, it's too late. I already paid for our passes. It was like $175 because it was a specialty pass through the con. Your regular season passes don't work for this. It's a VIP pass for the con trip to the aquarium. So the con is specific. FWA is partnered with Georgia Aquarium, where I want to say it's like on Saturday night after like 5 p.m. or like it's like 5 to 8 or something like that. They specifically open up the aquarium to fursuiters, so you can wear your suit in the aquarium. And if you're the VIP, they also give you a buffet area, which is nice. So you get to have a buffet and an open bar for the price of your ticket. I don't care about drinking, but I like food. And if I'm going to be far away from my hotel that I'm barely eating at anyway, I might as well get food while I'm there. Yeah, it is cooler. But, see, that's the thing. You're close enough, though, to have the pass. We aren't close enough to have the pass. Plus, you know, I get to go in suit. In suit. I'll probably go as Patch. I don't really want to go... I don't know. I debate it. It depends on what we plan on doing overall. Because I know we're taking Patch, and we're taking the twins. And since it's in Atlanta in the summer, I doubt we're going to want to full suit. And Patch is a 3/4 suit. So I can still wear his ramen hoodie and look like he's a full body, even though he's not. And I won't be cooking to death. The twins, however, are full suits, and we will die. And I would like to not be at an aquarium a 20-minute bus ride away from our hotel. That just sounds like a really bad idea. But maybe partialing in the twins, you know, that wouldn't be bad. What I really, really want to do is I want to touch the sea pancakes. I like petting the sea pancakes. That's my favorite part of the aquarium. And sometimes the Georgia Aquarium has little baby sharks in with the sea pancakes, and you can pet them too. We're doing Anthro, Ohio, and Colossal Con this year. Hell yeah. Well, good luck with that. That sounds like a lot of work to get done in time for those, especially since I feel like Anthro, Ohio is not that far away. I miss Anthro, Ohio every year. Like, I forget it exists. And then I just don't go. I know we're not going this year because we do not have the finances to go to both Anthro, Ohio and FWA after doing MCFC this year. MCFC was way more expensive than it usually is. And quite frankly, I was very disappointed with it. But that's just me. It might be better next year. It might not. You know, a new hotel, new space, you know. It's a learning curve for everybody. But also, the hotel was $800. The least they could do was give me a fucking microwave. I'm so mad that hotels are getting rid of their microwaves. Like, I'm paying more than I used to pay for my apartment's rent. And that gave me a living room, a bedroom, a kitchen, and a bathroom. You're telling me that for the same price, for just one weekend, I can't get a fucking microwave? It pisses me off. They took away the coffee makers, too. You have to pay extra to get a coffee maker in your room now. Which is dumb. Although I would argue I would rather have the microwave than the coffee maker. But that's just me. I did actually specifically buy a kettle to bring to MCFC because I knew they weren't going to have those at the hotel. So I brought it and everything for my ramen and our oatmeal, and then I ate the ramen, I just ate it dry. Because I never actually sat down and made a bowl of ramen. So that's how that went. Heard a lot of negative things about Midland Mall Comic Con this year. Yeah, first off, they didn't have fucking air conditioning turned on until 5 p.m. And it was warmer Saturday than it is today. And you've got a bunch of cosplayers and thousands of people, literally. They're like, the mall, by the way, is gloating that they saw 15,000 people over the weekend. But God forbid they turn on the AC. 15,000 people in a mall and no AC running. That is fucking stupid. Not to mention, it would be cheaper for the mall if they had it running in the first place, because then all they have to do is maintain that coolness and not actually, you know, get it down to that temperature. It takes a lot more effort for an AC unit to get down to temperature than to keep it at a temperature. There also was, like, nothing to do. It was walk around, shop at the vendors, and leave. That was literally it. There was, like, 2 booths that had, like, an interactive thing. Like, there was the Starfleet stuff that they do every year. And then there was a photography booth where you could get your cosplay photographed professionally. Other than that, the only thing was, like, the cosplay contest, which they moved the sign-in booth for the contest over to a room that was not very well labeled. But it existed, so it was in its own room this year. And then there was, like, a handful of arcade games down by the Barnes & Noble. And that was pretty much it. I was more disappointed by the vendors that were chosen this year. There were some good vendors, don't get me wrong. There were some great vendors there this year. I did get their business cards of the ones that particularly caught my eye. But out of the 100, like, they probably have a good 100, 200 vendors, you know, every year. Out of those vendors, there's maybe 10 that weren't selling garbage. A majority of the vendors at the con were selling either 3D printed crap, like the entire arm of the mall that just goes towards the Barnes & Noble, right? If you go from the stage and go towards Barnes & Noble, that entire section was almost nothing but the stupid 3D printed dragons. There were some other 3D printed stuff, but I'm sick and tired of going to cons and shit and seeing only 3D printed shit that I don't need. It'd be one thing if some of the stuff was actually useful, but most of it's just decorative plastic crap. And even worse, most of it's AI slop. So, and that was another thing. There were a few of those stupid fucking Tumblr booths with the AI printed fucking images on a Tumblr. And then there were your resellers. That was also a significant portion. That was like 90% of the con was your 3D prints, your AI crap, and your resellers that just sell Funko Pops and shit that you could find in literally every other major chain store. Very little of the con was actually comics or, you know, art or, you know, people making things. Yep, exactly. So, there was a couple resin artists. And I say the ones that I saw were actually pretty cool because they weren't just resin slapped into a common mold and then, you know, shat out some keychains. The one in particular that I'm thinking of they did chess sets. So they were resin chess sets with LEDs built into the chess pieces, and as you would move them, they would light up to whatever spot you moved them on. It was really cool. That was actually really nice. Creative stuff, you know, and not just shit slapped together in an Amazon mold, you know. But I did see maybe 2 furry vendors at the con. One that I've seen there before and another one that I have not seen there before, but that might just be me having bad memory. So that was cool. And then there were a couple authors that looked like they wrote some interesting stories that I took some business cards of, because I might eventually buy their books. But aside from that, you know, it was mostly your resellers, your Funko Pops, your 3D prints, your general crap that's not actually worth anything. They do need to limit their contest, because people are standing there. Again, no AC, standing there for hours waiting for the contest to start. I did not participate this year because I did not want to support the con. I wanted to support the artists. So I did not participate in the contest this year. But overall, the contest seemed very, very lackluster. Just not great this year, anyway. Which, that is the thing, too. I find that they don't seem to... The way they run their contests is not how a lot of, like, anime cons and stuff run their contests. It's more of a popularity contest than it is a cosplay contest. They don't judge based on quality, craftsmanship, materials, stuff like that. They seem to judge more so on, well, this one looks cooler. Which basically means that anybody who has really cool LEDs gets in. Although I did see that it looked like one of our friends in the fur pile did place this year, which is cool. Congrats to them. Normal folk with some like candy, and that was it. Oh, fun. Yeah, I think they did the original character category because of, you know, the furries. Because that's kind of... They don't want to limit it to just furry, but they also don't want to... I don't know. Do whatever. They don't want to be super specific. I don't... Anywho's, my laptop is about to die because I'm an idiot who didn't plug it in. So I will be right back. I need to turn off that fucking autofocus. It's going to piss me off. I'll give you right back. Once when I get my laptop cord so it'll stay charged. There we go, we're back. Oh. And we're sitting like a people. Yeah? I'm gonna need you to stop breathing. You got really bad breath, babe. You're very stinky, baby. If you're hot, you don't have to be in the chair. God, your breath. Good lord, dogs. We try to keep their teeth clean because God knows stinky dog breath. Buddy, don't tempt me. Don't, bro. I don't know if you guys heard him huffing. The neighbors closed their car door, so he barked at me. He's a little special. I wish you were coming down in time for Repticon or Herps. That would be dope. Also, I feel like you should not shorten Herps because normal people are not going to realize that that's not herpes. I hate to tell you. We're talking about reptiles, not diseases. For all you normal people in chat. But reptile expos. I did almost go to I almost did get a bachelor's degree, and I was going to do one of my focuses was going to be herpetology, and then the other one was going to be ornithology. Because I like me some birds. That's not abbreviated. They just call it herps. Oh my god. They should really reconsider, maybe. I'm sure it's the convention, not the company, but I believe you 100%. They should really reconsider. Because I guarantee you, if I look up herps, Google is about to give me something about herpes. You guys came in at a really bad time. Hello, thank you for the raid. We're talking about reptile expos, just FYI. And there's a reptile expo called Herps. That is apparently just what it's called. And that is a poor name for a convention, if you ask me. Oh, good lord. Hello, welcome in. If you guys need to go get some snackies or drinks after your stream, please go ham. You don't have to stay here. I will live. I will not be heartbroken if you have to leave. Did you guys do anything interesting today? No. Right, if you're a herpetologist, you don't think about it. But if you're a normal person, you look at that and you go, herpes? I'm not even a normal person, and my first thought was herpes. Even though I knew exactly what we were talking about. Because we're currently talking about cons, kind of on the whole. Because we started off talking about fur cons, because I go to fur cons. That's what I do. And we're talking about a recent Comic-Con that happened near us, here in Michigan. And how that went, which was honestly not great. Bingus, babe, I'm gonna need you to stop breathing. This is Bingus, by the way. She is my 10-year-old retired service dog, and she has the stinkiest breath right now and insists on panting in my direction. Say hello, Bingo. You want to say hi to everybody? Yeah, you go, baby. You go, baby. Yeah. But she will insist. Yes, so her actual name is Sarah, but we call her Bingus, or Bingwings, or Bingle Bongle, or Bingle Bongle Bartholomew III. She's a very good girl, but she's also an idiot, and she really, really, really likes this chair. So she refuses to get out of it, even if she's getting too hot. Like, there's other places to be. Yeah, there is. There's other places. Please stop breathing. You stink so much. Just breathe in a different direction, please. You stink so bad today. She usually gets breath sticks, and I don't... We also have Baby Mans. His actual name is Forrest. We call him Baby Mans. He is a standard poodle. In fact, actually, here, come here, Baby Mans. Come here. You want to come say hi? Come up-ups? Can you up-up, please? Yeah, go baby. Go baby. Hello. Oh, the big baby. This is the Baby Mans. That you can barely see. He was supposed to be my next service dog, but it turns out he's an idiot. And likes to scream at people for no reason. So, unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna work out. Don't scream at the neighbors. Do not start that shit. They're allowed to be in their own yard. Shh. Thank you. Good boy. Good boy. We're trying very hard on our reactivity. Yeah. So that's the only thing you're bad about. He's good about literally everything else, but he's also only 2. So, yeah. So you're still a puppy yet. Puppy noodle. Just got done with my comeback stream to returning to Twitch, so you did some art today. Hell yeah! We love some art. Art's always good. And welcome back to Twitch. I know I took a good, I want to say like 2 or 3 year break from Twitch just because I didn't vibe. I didn't have any real reason to do it. So I didn't stream for multiple years because I used to do crochet streams, actually. Oh, I heard a noise. Thank you for the follow. Are we sewing a bee? No, actually. We are sewing a tiger tail. It just happens to be scattered in a random pile at the moment. So this is actually the base of the tail, and it's going to swoop and kind of do a big old curve, and it'll be about 36 inches long. Normally, I would machine sew a lot of these, but because they're such tiny pieces, I am hand sewing. And I generally find that when you do tails, if you machine sew them, you're more likely to end up with a tail that's curved or twisted in a way that you don't want it to be. Whereas if you hand sew them, it's a lot easier to get a straight tail like you actually want it. So we're going to hand sew this whole damn thing. Except for the gore patch, because they do get gore patches, but that's done on the embroidery machine, and that's a whole other thing. I hand sewed a tail that had over 150 spots. Good lord. The last time I did that many spots was on a Draco Moo, and that was for the entire suit, because they got a full Digi costume from me back then. Yeah, I'm sure it did make you want to cry. That's so much. That's so many spots. I will say spots are my least favorite. Why are you touching me? Why are you touching? You gotta go ask your dad. Go ask your dad to let you out. Do you gotta go potty too, Bingle? Yeah, go ask your dad. He'll let you out. Do I still have hands? Yeah, do you still have hands? That's what they're asking. Do you still have hands? I did a spotty circle, and in total it was like 600 spots. Oh, that's so many. That's so many. And the whole suit was hand sewn. Oh, good lord. See, and that's just it. With suits like that, you kind of have to hand sew. I try to machine sew my bodysuits as much as possible, just because I feel like hand sewing doesn't hold up as well because of the inconsistency in the stitches. There's a lot more points of tension that are uneven. But I also double stitch the entirety of my bodysuits, so every single seam on a bodysuit gets stitched twice over. But sometimes you really just can't avoid hand sewing. Sewed up your ripped pants once, hell yeah. I have not done suits since that one broke me. I bet. There's times where I'm like, I need a break after this commission. Because, good lord. But fursuits are what I do. I do this full-time. This is my full-time job as being a fursuit maker. I do other stuff, like digital art and embroidered badges. I don't have one in the office at the moment. I don't know where they all went. They're somewhere in the house, but I do machine embroidered fursuit badges for a while. Oh, for 10 years ago. Well, shoot, put that shit down then, I guess. You weren't kidding. That's definitely putting that down. I do still crochet sometimes, but I do a lot more sewing these days. Ooh, cross-stitch badges. Hell yeah. So do you do... I guess, do you do like kind of more like an 8-bit style with larger stitches? Or do you do like a realistic style with a bunch of teeny tiny stitches? Do you do like huge badges in that case? Or like, I'm very curious because I'm a big fan of like the fiber arts in general. And cross stitch was one of the few that I never really got into just because I don't have the patience for it. Like knitting, could never get into knitting. It's too tedious. The 2 needles is so annoying, but 1 crochet hook. I can handle 1 crochet hook. That's good stuff right there. I want to learn to crochet. I can make a crochet griffin for my wifey. Yes! Do it! Get into the yard. Get into it. So you know how knitting goes. I tried learning a little bit of knitting. First off, can't even do a regular knit stitch because I started with crochet. It's easier for me to do a twisted knit stitch than it is for me to do like a regular knit stitch. But it's so much slower than crochet. I prefer the faster stuff because like I need that. I finished it. I did it. I do realistic, not 8x16. Gotcha. Um, oh no, ads. Yeah, it's ad time. Yeah, knitting is very, very slow. I saw someone... Oh goodness, who was it? There is someone here on Twitch that does bobbin lace. And I asked them, they were talking about doing the short, kind of like decorative curtain that was going to take 6 panels for them to do. Hey, can I help you, sir? Okay, cool. It was going to take them several panels to do, and I asked them, I was like, how long does that generally take you? And they're like, oh, well, each panel takes me about 6 months. And I was like, oh, good lord, I could never. Like, first off, bobbin lace goes over my head. I never figured that one out. There's just not a lot of good tutorials for it. But 6 months is insane for just a single... Like, we're talking, like, a quarter of a scarf. Like, thank you for the follow. We love the follows. Don't worry, the ads are almost done. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it so much. We're growing our army. Hooray, free from ad jail. We love being free from ad jail. There we go. I don't know what you missed, to be honest. We were talking about crochet, and then I was talking about bobbin lace and how that's even slower than knitting. So wherever you left off in that conversation, point is bobbin lace takes a ridiculously long time, and kudos to anyone who can manage to do bobbin lace. I've done hairpin lace, but that's just a form of crochet, and I've done broomstick lace, which is also another form of crochet. Those do not take nearly as long as bobbin lace. Or knitting. Bobbin lace is even longer than knitting. And I can't. Knitting's too... It's so tedious in comparison. And this stuff's just unraveling itself, which this fabric is a knit backing, but you know. Oh, lace is... There's a reason that lace is expensive, and that's because it's very tedious to do by hand. It's very time consuming. But even so, it's very hard to program into machines. Crochet you cannot do by machine at all, period. It is a series of knots. And it's intricate to the point where a machine can't do it. Knitting, the only way you're getting rid of a stitch is if you're dropping it, right? If you're dropping your nip stitch, if you're closing it off, whatever. Crochet, you could just fucking whip around with that shit, you know? You don't have to hold all of your stitches onto a needle. So, you're fine, you're fine. You can lurk. Lurking's good. Thank you for the lurk. But you can't do crochet by machine. Machines can't do it. Machines can do knitting to an extent, but they can't do crocheting. But yes, I do the realistic cross stitch. I'm actually making my wife a Lord cross stitch. Ooh. Your crafternoons, I love that. See, every day is a crafter day for me, because this is most of what I do every week. I do the fursuit stuff 70 hours a week. Do I technically make enough off of it for it to be realistically to do as a job? No, I do not. I do not. I'm currently making Hedgehound a badge soonish. Ooh, yes! I'm gonna have to bug you. I want to see some eyeballs on that. That'll be dope. I lost which piece is next because my pile got skedaddled. What? 5, 6. Okay, so this is... Why is 8 over here? 6, 7, 8, 9. Except this is not 8, 9. This is 18 and 19. And this is why it only works if you number your pieces properly. 9 years, 22 semesters in a row, no summers off or breaks. I do academia for 70 hours a week. I'll trade you. I'd love to have a brain break. See, I did do 12-hour days at Delta when I was in college. I went to Delta for 4 years. I got 2 associate's degrees from them. And we did 12-hour days there. So we'd be there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. doing classes and stuff. And in between classes, I was crocheting. So I get it. I get the whole being cooked out of your mind with the brain stuff, especially since one of those degrees is a science degree. But I gotta head out and do some after stream stuff. Have a nice stream. Thank you. You have fun. Get your snackies and whatever else you gotta do. Take your breaks. Chill out. Get some water. I absolutely get it. We will be vibing. Mostly just me. The dogs are not vibing. The dogs are mad that they have to sit still for stream. And not even sit still. They don't even have to be in here. They just insist on it. Say, isn't that right, Bingle? Oh, you gave us your booty. This is your booty cheeks. Yeah. Thank you for breathing in the other direction, though. That is something that... So I realize you guys definitely don't know this. Because you're obviously new here. So Bingus, being my service dog, used to ride in the car with me a lot. And as dogs are wont to do, they pant during car rides quite a bit. Especially if it's warm in the car. And dog breath stinks. So the amount of times that I told her to, oh my god, stop breathing, and then I would push her away from me, eventually she learned that if I ask her to stop breathing, that means close her mouth. Which is why I tell her to stop breathing. Not because I actually wish for her to stop breathing, but, you know, it works. She's a very smart dog. Forrest, on the other hand, sometimes I wonder if he even owns a set of brain cells. I'm 5 to 6 to 20 every day, but Saturday, and plus 25 hours of work a day, I'm sleepy, though I do have 3 associates. I'm about to have my bachelor's, master's, and then get a PhD. Good lord. Way to show off, my guy. That is impressive, I will give you that. I could not... I got my associates and said, fuck that shit, I'm out. Plus, there's no real reason for me to get, 5 to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Gotcha. 5 or 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I get it, okay. I can't read. But yeah, I get that. Yeah, because like back in college, I was still doing this. I was taking commissions for suits, but I was also working part-time jobs, about 20 hours a week, and then I was also at Delta during... I don't know how past me used to get all that done. But if you ever need a dietitian, give me a call. I want to do free health panels at cons. That would be dope. Free health panels are dope. Like, I love when people just do panels about stuff that they have passions for, you know? Like, those are the people that have the best panels. Present me is praying for things to stop. That is a mood. I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, Pig Mom's over here. Pig Mom graduated early, because they said that's enough. They're good. Yeah, you got the 3 levels of adulting. You've got, I guess I graduate high school, and I'm over here like, I did some college, and then you're over here like, I'm gonna do all of the college. I'm gonna do so much college, you won't even know. I can't afford to do more college anyway, but... They'll kick you out of the program if you take the summer off. That's stupid. That is dumb. So, because, like, I know with, like, the associate's degrees, you know, you do your semesters, but if you skip the spring-summer semester, it's whatever, you know? It's just, you didn't have classes that semester, but good lord. Yeah, no, I'm blind. I'm losing my eyeballs. I was originally going to go for a bachelor's, possibly a master's in zoology, and then I never did. Because turns out zoology takes an assload of chemistry, and it also turns out that despite knowing a decent bit of chemistry, I am not good at labs. I am so bad at, like, we're talking 500% errors on the regular. I don't know how you can fuck up a lab that bad, but I manage it every time. So... yeah, my wifey is still paying off her student loans, and she graduated with her bachelor's in 2019. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, how does one fuck up a lab that... And it's the simple shit, like, titration, you know, your first ever fucking chemistry experience. That one's fine. Everything after titration, fuck me, I guess. I don't know. Even in biology, like, somehow we were doing, like, little petri dishes, right? You roll your marbles around, you see what grows up, you know... We were the only ones who got multiple colonies of bacteria that should not have been in our petri dish. Like, we had yeast, we had all kinds of bacteria, including the one that we were supposed to have in there, that we had specifically placed in the petri dish. Everybody else had nice, clean petri dishes with little white colonies. We had a rainbow dish. And I'm like, I don't know how we fucked that. It's a group of 5. How did a group of 5 manage to fuck it up this bad? Gen Chem, Chem 1, Chem 2, OChem, Carbon Chem, Biochem, and Metabolic Chem. That's a lot of chemistries. Yeah, I got to Chem 2, and I barely passed that. Like, I didn't pass it. I failed. I did a pass, no credit. Chem 2, and then I realized I had to take level 200s in order to get my zoology degree, because they wanted you to do biochem and all that, and I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I don't think that's something I can do. So I stopped doing the zoology degree, switched over to art and design, which was a big jump. Got my art and design degree. And then after that, I realized I had so many credits, because I had like 90 credits at that point from switching, that I could still go for a general science degree with a focus on biology and chemistry. And they're like, oh yeah, well, if you just gotta take, 20 individual credits. And I'm like, nothing from my first year counts, because none of that went towards my art degree. And they're like, no, you gotta take 20 new credits. So I took 20 new credits. And then they decided that my history didn't count and other shit. And I was like, fuck you. They really did not want to give me that second degree. So I just gave up, and then I just started emailing them every semester until they gave me my second associate's degree. So now I have an associate's in science and an associate's in art and design. But I am surprisingly better at math than I am at chemistry and biology, even though I hate math. I am a metabolic biochemist, and my goal is to do research on holistic alternative treatments for mental and behavioral disorders, specifically depression. That is really interesting. That actually sounds very interesting. Especially, if you manage to find shit that works really well. Because, I know for a lot of people, with depression and stuff, a lot of people are adverse to taking medications, especially if they can do alternative treatments that are not as hard-hitting as a lot of, main medications that are given. I feel scary. I've been doing level 500 classes. My wife is a biologist, though, and she lives in Japan now. You lucky bastards. Annoy them to a degree. Haha. I really wanted to help. Exactly. That's good shit, man. That's good shit. That's cool. I wish I was that cool. Slogging through all this so I could just be help. See, that's cool shit, though, It's worth it. That is an impressive thing you got going on there. I'm just over here. I volunteer as a guinea pig. Pig Mum will happily volunteer. Pig Mum does not live in northern Idaho. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I don't feel nearly as cool as you, my guy. You're the coolest man on the planet right now. Or woman, or however you identify. Coolest they, them. I don't care. Point is, you're cool as fuck. And I'm over here sewing some fabric. But, it is what it is. I get to be the coolest they, them. Perfect. Oh, what? You're just the new Snoop Dogg. That's what it is. Hooray, I'm doing a thing! Look at me go! Tell you what, it's not making happy, though, is my spine, because I'm shriveled. First off, my chair is abhorrent. I can tell you for a fact this is the worst chair to have for, sewing at a desk. I don't normally sew at my desk too often, unless it's on the sewing machine, in which case I have better posture because my feet are actually on the floor. But normally I'm standing at my desk or I'm sitting in the living room sewing because I work from home. So I can sit in the living room, watch YouTube, and sew at the same time, But this chair is not a chair. It is, in fact, a creeper. A garage creeper. And I specifically got it because, first off, I used to only have a folding chair. You guys can't even see it. I shall lift. It's a creeper chair. So, it exists. It's got wheels. That was big thing. I wanted a chair with wheels so I could go wee. Whatever suits your vibes, I'll be whatever. But the cool thing about this chair is that it has storage. So there's like, I wanted something with storage in it. And do you know how few chairs there are that actually have decent storage? Like, you can find an office chair that's huge and bulky and would take up 90% of the fucking office that has, like, a little tiny shelf on the bottom. And I'm like, fuck that. So it's like, I wanted a chair that actually was functional storage. So this bitch has drawers for all my toolsies. This bitch has a bin underneath my seat where all my tape lives. It's got a tray thing that I tend to sit my feet on, but also random shit ends up there, so... This was $70 on Amazon. Ooh, and the back of the chair, this is my favorite part. The back of the chair is a pegboard. So oh, sorry, Bingle, am I scaring you? I may have spooked the Bingus. To be fair, I did throw a wheel in her face. But it's a pegboard. So I could put all my shit on the back, like my scissors and stuff that I forget to actually put back on there. You can get in your chair now. I'm sorry, Bingle. Get up here, babe. I know. Probably a lot more, but your chair probably also has lumbar support. This thing doesn't even have a back. It used to. I 3D printed and put strapped cardboard onto the back of this chair. And it worked. I could recline. But now I can't recline, so the other solution is to hunch, which means I have terrible, terrible posture all the time. I was going to ask you a question and I lost it. It does, but I can't use it because I had surgery on my tailbone. Damn. So you got lumbar support you paid for you can't even use. Ha! Rude. How dare. Tell your tailbone to get its act together. Tell him you'll disown him if he doesn't behave. Hydrate. Okay, well, we're going to get the closest we can to hydrating, and that's going to be a sippy sip of my Coke. Because this bitch don't drink water. I do not. Water is yucky. And everybody gets mad at me for that. But I drink a lot of chocolate milk, so it makes up for it. It probably doesn't. Chocolate milk is probably actually hydration neutral, honestly, but I don't like plain milk. Which actually, there was a study done out of Harvard that suggests... No, hold on. There was a study done out of Harvard that compared water to a lot of your electrolyte drinks and to milk. And they found that because of the fat and protein and vitamin contents in your regular whole milk, that it might actually be more hydrating than water itself. Much like a lot of your electrolyte drinks tend to be more hydrating because, you know, they have the electrolytes and stuff, which allows your body to actually, you know, use the water that you're giving it. But yes, as Pig Mum is saying, it... What do you mean $13 milk? Or do you mean 13% and you hit the wrong sign? That was supposed to be a percentage, wasn't it? It is a lot. I do put a stupid amount of chocolate. I would, one of these days... Exactly, salt and sugar. And what is chocolate powder if not sugar? And milk is full of fats, proteins, and vitamins. So, and actually, a lot of milk is actually water in and of itself. Milk is a very watery liquid. Either way, it was a study that suggested that milk might be more hydrating, but it also had a very limited, what's the word I'm looking for? They only did 100 people. Which, you know, is the minimum needed, but that's also not... I'm going to pretend that it's hydrating, because I like to think that it is. And I haven't died yet, and I haven't drank water since the last time I almost died. No, not case study. I was looking for, like, participants. Their sample size was only 100 people. So, it's not a lot of people for a study, especially when you're looking at how it affects a majority of people. And then, of course, you have to consider most of those participants were likely, you know, white male college students. So, because it was done at the college, and that was pretty much it. The study was also done... Exactly. It was also done specifically for people who were undergoing high-intensity exercises. So, like, very intense physical training. and they were comparing, you know, like their hydration levels before and after that. So how well it actually hydrates you outside of very intense exercises is debatable. Like, they had a lot of, well, you gotta consider this and this and this and this in their study. So ultimately, their study really does not say much. But, you know. Can I help you, babe? Bingus, I'm gonna need you to lay down. If it's hot, go lay in the living room, babe. If you're hot, go lay in the living room. You got something in your fur. There you go. Go lay in the living room. Out. Ouch, ouch. No, I said out. The sun is currently on her chair. So, she's panting and hot, but she's stupid and wants to lay in her chair. You out too. Go look out the window. It's a nice day out there. We've got the doors open. Yeah, that doesn't translate over to the average person. Studies are very specific. Exactly. So, I like to believe that the milk hydrates me. Like I said, I haven't died and I haven't had water since that one time I did a shot of soy sauce. And that was tap water, and I had maybe like 3 drinks of it. And then before that was the time I had the flu when I was 10. So, I'm not dead yet, and they say you can't survive without water for 3 days. I don't exactly eat a lot of hydrating veggies either. Like, I didn't start eating lettuce until a few years ago, and it's not exactly something I do frequently, you know? I don't know where I'm getting my hydration from, but it has to be from somewhere, and it's probably the milk. Yeah, most food is, to some extent, water, but I also feel like it's not hydrating enough. You know, like, I feel like it would be at a deficit. And not enough to keep me from dying. But also, what study are you doing right now? I know a lot of, like, what's the content of, like, your average burger? Is, like, what, 40% water or something like that? I know a lot of foods are a surprising amount of water, but have you also considered, I regularly forget to eat, so I'm just a mess, don't mind me. In fact, all I've eaten, because I woke up at like noon today, we slept in, yeah, see, if I do drink any sort of water, it has to have the packets, but even then I don't like most packets, so it's like, I don't drink flavored water too often either. Literally every day it's chocolate milk or it's a can of caffeine-free Coke. And that's pretty much it. Very, very occasionally I might do like a lemonade or a juice, but that's like, especially like if I go to Cedar Point, you know, you're not gonna have Coke at Cedar Point, that's how you die. So you get a lemonade and then you bitch about how bitter it is and how scratchy it makes your throat, and then, you know, you ride the roller coaster. I might be allergic to lemons. Okay, question for everybody in chat. Does lemonade make your throat scratchy, itchy? Or is that just me? Because I get that with like every lemonade. And I always just assumed that maybe it was the sugar content, you know, the granules. But now I'm considering this might be a bananas aren't supposed to be spicy thing. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad if I am allergic to lemons, because I really like lemons. I don't like the texture of, like, your citrus fruits. Like, I don't like the pulp. But I really love, like, lemon juice and lemon-flavored things. But they always make me, like, itchy, scratchy. I will say, I know for a fact, I am allergic to the cold. And I'm gonna blame my dad for that, because that motherfucker's allergic to grass and crunchy Nutri-Grain bars. What do you mean it makes your throat dry? I hate bananas, they make me cough. See, usually when people say they hate bananas, it's because they don't like the texture or the flavor of a banana. That's a new one, though. Yeah, well, here, we can murder the ad. No more ads for you. Ha 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 ha. I snoozed it. Because I am busy chatting with you guys. I have nuked it. We've got like another 5 minutes before ads. But what do you mean it makes your throat dry? What do you mean bananas make you cough? I don't know. So I do know I'm allergic to the cold. Not, like, severely so, but if it's cold enough, and mind you, I live in Michigan, and I grew up in New York, so it gets pretty fucking cold here. But if I'm out there for more than, like, 20 minutes and it's below freezing out, I will get very itchy. And usually it's not a problem, because, like, oh, I start, like, my skin starts itching, I itch, I come inside, right? Except for there was a couple times where I have been far away from going inside. Like, we went for a walk, and it was very cold out, and I was wearing jeans, and I got very itchy, particularly on my inner thighs. I was getting itchy, and itchy, and itchy, and itchy, and then I get home, and I'm covered in hives all down my inner legs, and it's starting to spread on my arms a bit, too. Went away in, like, 10-20 minutes, but I break out in hives if I get too cold. Are you an alcohol drinker? Or let me phrase, have you had alcohol and you felt kind of dry out of your throat before you drink it, like when you smell rubbing alcohol? So, I don't generally drink alcohol. I don't know that Pig Mom does either. Not lemonade, not bananas. Right. Lemonade makes your throat dry. I understood that. I've had some wines do that, which is most of the reason why I don't like wines and a lot of drinks. I drink soju. Because soju is nice and smooth. It's not dry. It doesn't taste like drinking fucking rubbing alcohol. Although it does smell like it. I also like those little chocolate liqueurs. Those are my favorite. Yeah, I was gonna say, I probably drink more than once or twice a year. But I'm talking like a single cup. And it's a can of Coke with like this much soju added to it. Because soju on its own kind of tastes like shit. It's not awful. I like the strawberry soju I buy. That's pretty good on its own. It tastes like that kid's lip gloss, you know, like that stupid-ass fake strawberry flavor they used to put in everything. It's not bad, but it still tastes like alcohol, right? So I mix that into Coke. Lemon soju and Coke is the shit. So every once in a while, like maybe once a month, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go to bed soon. I'll put some of that in my cup, you know? Maybe I'll fall asleep better, because I can't sleep for shit. I lay in bed, and the next thing I know, it's 4 hours later, I'm still fucking awake. So, you know, usually a little bit of alcohol helps, or better yet, a little edible, because then I rotisserie chicken. But we don't like doing that too often, because that can cause other problems, like rotisserie chicken. When I eat bananas, that's what it does to my throat. That's weird. I feel like bananas aren't supposed to do that. Are you sure you're not allergic to bananas? If they're not green, that's so weird. Maybe you're allergic to I feel like, because, like, bananas are a very wet food. It's the sugar content. But they're still like it's like eating, like, I feel like banana is very similar in, like, to oatmeal. That's interesting. You're allergic to pot. That is both convenient and inconvenient. I feel like that's interesting. We're all little weirdos, aren't we? Like the fermentation and the distillation of alcohol. Right. Food is weird. See, all I know is lemons are mean, but they taste delicious. Bananas are not mean, but they taste okay. And if you put a banana in a smoothie, it's going to be the only fucking thing you taste in that smoothie. And also, the cold makes me itchy. That's what I know. But also, like, my dad is allergic to, like, fucking everything under the sun, apparently. Like, he's allergic to cats, he's allergic to grass, he's allergic to something specifically in the crunchy Nutri-Grain bars, not the soft ones, just the crunchy ones. He's allergic to apple skins. Just the skins, not the rest of the apple. And you can touch them, you just can't eat them. I would love to chill for longer, but Is Toad's gonna call me? What bird? I need to finish the study work. You should do that. You should finish that, buddy. Absolutely get onto that if you gotta. I see the O. I'm waiting for whatever the response is going to be, because I'm sure it's going to be profound. And probably very, very smart. And maybe it'll make us realize why we're all so weird when it comes to food. Oh yeah, the study! My study is the benefits of farmers markets on public health outcomes. Ooh! That's interesting. You'll have to let me know how that goes. I want to know what the results of that are. You'll have to send me your paper. Once when you have the paper. Yogurt makes your throat dry. What is wrong with you, buddy? For reference, Pig Mom has everything on the planet wrong with them. Like, everything. They're constantly in hospital. Just for existing. My wife is a griffin, so I call her Bird. Oh, Bird Wife. I see, I see, I see. It threw me for a loop, and I was very confused. And I'm the tree, so she calls me Tree or Boss. Oh, that's cute. There you go, Pig Mom. They shall cure you of all your problems. And ads. I can't fix all the ads. I can only fix some of them. Well, have fun doing your stuff. Go be adulty with your colleging. Tell the wife I say hi. Oh, that's right, you are... Well, bitch! God damn it. I forgot you were allergic to dairy. Is that what they finally ruled? Is that you are allergic to dairy? Or I thought... Or was that just the stomach ulcer thing? Because I know there was a whole thing with your stomach ulcers, you couldn't have dairy. And then... Right, and then they determined that you were allergic to dairy. Listen, man, you're so sick all the time. I don't know what's wrong with you anymore. You're allergic to cats, you're allergic to dairy, but you got both of them in your house for some fucking reason. It's a sad life you live, buddy. I'm just lactose intolerant, but we're okay. I'm gonna be very mad if I am allergic to dairy and I've just been, like, killing myself all these years. I feel like we would have known by now if I was allergic. I think we would have known by now if I, in particular, was allergic to dairy. I am definitely lactose intolerant, but I don't think I'm allergic. We would know. And Bingus is back in her chair again. One of my buddies who is a pharmacist is allergic to most foods. Oh, good lord. That sounds complicated, is it? So, one of my dad's friends, his wife, she was allergic to literally everything. And I mean everything. And not in the sense of, like, the body was specifically allergic to, say, milk or cats. It's more that the body would just randomly decide that something was an allergen. So one day, she might be fine with, say, avocados. The next, nuh-uh. Just all of a sudden no longer okay to have avocados. Or whatever, you know? Like, tested positive for literally everything on the allergy test. Because the body just reacts to everything as if it is an allergen. So the EpiPen usage is insane. To the point that their daughters, who were very, very young at the time, they were like maybe 6 or 7, you know? They had to learn how to use an EpiPen just in case, you know, mom had something happen. Which is very scary, I feel like, for a kid that young. But, you know, when it's like that, what are you gonna do? I have 10-year lactose intolerant wave. Every 10 years I'm lactose intolerant for 2-ish years. That's odd. And I feel like that also matches with, like, people are talking about, like, you can sit here and you can beat your intolerance by just having more dairy. Like, if you have so much dairy, eventually your body just gives up on being intolerant. Make it tolerant again. I also have alpha gel red meat allergy that you get from ticks in Texas. Ah, I've heard, because you get those from the Lone Star ticks, which, by the way, are not specifically in Texas. They are all over down south, and they have been spreading north. So, fun. That, I was so paranoid about that as a kid, because I like me some steak. And I would be so fucking pissed if I couldn't eat steak.
Ulcers are from the allergy, but I can't take my meds with water because I throw up with empty stomach, but food makes me sick in the morning, so I drink milk that makes me ouchy. It's 100% a weird pattern. It's 100% not how that works. Well, you know. People do weird shit all the time. I guarantee that's definitely not how that... I would believe you 100% that that's not how that works, but we can dream, alright? We can dream that we can force our bodies to become tolerant of the dairy. To be fair, I went to Olive Garden for the first time in several years, and I got the cheese ravioli in Alfredo sauce with the extra cheese on top. The only thing I didn't do that I usually do is drink a chocolate milk, because that's what I used to do. However, even I can agree that that is an excessive amount of dairy. And also, it was late at night, and I wanted some caffeine, so I had a Coke. My Coke tasted like soap. I was very mad about it. But I did not shit my pants afterwards. And that's what matters. K-Pod, on the other hand. Food also makes me sick in the morning. I can't eat for 3 to 4 hours after I wake up, though I also get up at 4-ish. Right. See, that's not usually an issue for me. It's not that food makes me sick in the mornings. Like, for me personally. My issue is that I forget food exists. So then next thing I know, it's 3 in the afternoon, even though I woke up early at like 7, 8-ish, or even, 10. That's average for me is 10. But if I wake up early at 7, it's 2 in the afternoon. I'm like, oh shit, food's a thing. And then I'll forget to eat anyway, because I get distracted. Oh yeah, Pig Mom's allergic to cats, but they no longer are allergic to cats. Because they've had so many cats. Your allergy was always weird, though, because you didn't used to always be allergic to cats. You weren't allergic to cats when you were really little. We had cats growing up. And also, for reference, Big Mom is my sibling, so. That's why I know all this personal information about them. Like their birthday and their social security number. Ha ha ha! I don't know their social security number. I'm not licensed yet, but I can give advice as a person. That is a mood. Like, I get people a lot asking me about, like, taxes for their business because, like, I am registered as an LLC. It's like, now listen, I am not a tax person. I know nothing about the tax system. However, this is how I file my taxes. And it's worked for me so far. I probably should go learn taxes, work at H&R Block for a year or something. Then I could file my own taxes manually instead of going through people. That would be dope. Got about a year before you can get licensed. Well, that's pretty damn close, though. That's pretty damn close. Especially since I'm sure it took you more than a year to get to a year before. Well, I'm going to set myself off. We've got a decent chunk of tail going. We got this. Woo. I used to be a bookkeeper. I actually stopped last year. I was a bookkeeper for 24 years. Good lord, that's a lot of bookkeeping. And you're just suddenly now doing that? Bro, you're going on adventures. This, like, makes... Okay, so you're probably going to hate this, but this makes me think of my dad, right? Because my dad just did so much shit before he was even 20. It's a whole thing. So it's like he was a DJ at one point, and he did horseback riding for 18 years. But this man was also in the military for 20 plus years, you know? And now he works for a camping place, but also he used to, like, back before Facebook became as big as it is, he made one of the first games for Facebook and shit like that. I'm like, what do you mean? I was a DJ in the military. See, I feel like that's just the Army people. Well, I don't know if Army specifically. He's Army specifically, but I feel like it's just a very military thing to just do all of the fucking side quests. It's so interesting. Also worked for the government as a property appraiser. Ooh, fancy stuff. Fancy schmancy. And I was a dog groomer. See, I recently applied to be a dog groomer, and I have heard nothing back. But to be fair, it's not like I applied to like a small shop or anything. I applied to PetSmart, so. And used to make computer. Is there anything you didn't do? Like, you ever make fudge at Mackinac Island? I bet that's something you didn't do. But, like, I'm over here, like, I make fursuits. That's pretty much the most interesting thing I've done with my life. Which isn't entirely true, because I have done some weird shit, you know? I've traveled around, I've done things, I've been places. I've published a couple of my own books, you know? I run my own business. That's about the end of it. That's the end of my whole list. Never been a deep-sea fisher and haven't been a professional diver. Okay, but the key word here is yet. There's still time. Unless you're allergic to the ocean too, in which case... maybe not. But have you worked at Waffle House? Oh, see? Pigma might have something up on you. They have been at Waffle House. From what I hear, it was an okay experience. It's Waffle House, so... Old and crunchy. That doesn't mean you can't be a deep-sea fisherman. That's like all of the deep-sea fishermen. They're all old and crunchy. It's all the salt in the water. You've never... Okay, honestly, that might be the most impressive thing you've said today. You've never worked in food service is pretty fucking impressive. Because pretty much, I feel like 90% of people at some point work in food service. For at least a little bit. I have worked at multiple restaurants. Oh, we could be good friends except you're old and crunchy. Well, I mean, I have other old and crunchy friends. I have many young and crunchy ones, too. Age doesn't matter, and we're all crunchy. It's fine. Good lord. I will now as a metabolic biochemist. See, there you go! Big Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not even in food service anymore. That's true, that's true. I guess if it's all food. But it's not the same as, like, food service. I feel like there's a difference between, like, telling people, what foods they should and shouldn't eat for their specific diets and stuff like that. Versus, I made a burger and then a Karen threw her Coke in my face. You know? Like... Also, I feel like the pay is probably better. I was getting Coke thrown in my face for 11 an hour. I don't know what you're doing. Ooh! A cookbook. That sounds dope. I am not a decent cook. I am okay at best, and most of the stuff I know how to make is okay at best anyway. So I'm fully succeeding in my recipes, just not good at anything else. We're working on it. We're working on it. I don't cook very often. I cook maybe like once a week, and that's if I feel like it, because God am I EB all the time, always. Probably because I stopped drinking caffeine. But, you know. That and because I stay up stupid late, and then I wake up early, and then I'm just tired because I was up till 1 in the morning, or 4 in the morning, or 6, and then I went to bed and woke up at 7. I also just don't sleep good these days. Oh, guys, I gotta buy a new mattress. I forgot that was something I was gonna do today. Well, after stream. After stream, I'll buy a mattress. Oh, that's why you fuckers are bugging me. They want their dinner. It's their dinner time. That's what they're bitching at me about. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize it was that late already. I didn't realize it was already that... We did start stream later today. Usually I start stream at 4, so... We started stream later. Yes, hold on, guys. I will be out there in a minute. They usually eat dinner at 5, and it is currently 6 here. So... My highest paying job aside from the government job was $7.50 because that's your state's minimum wage. See, that sucks. I feel like there's no... I don't understand why all the states have such... Like, that's especially common down south. I believe that's Alabama's minimum wage is still $7.25 is the federal wage. Here, the minimum wage is... I want to say it's $10.50. It was supposed to be bumped up to $12, but, you know. The government. I had a dream about working there a week ago. I thought they were kidding and training when they said I had dreams about it. I still have dreams about McDonald's. I still have nightmares about making mocha frappes and iced mochas. I don't know if they're really nightmares, though, because I really like making iced mochas. But they just make you so stressed out. I will be right back. I gotta feed the dogs real quick.
And we're back. Emote party. Whoa. I worked in in-home healthcare, and they paid $8 an hour for 6 years. Good lord. I think the job I had that paid the best was the pizza place I used to work at, called Pompeii Pizza Factory in Reese. Well, it's just called Pompeii Pizza Factory, but it is located in Reese. So if you're ever, in this part of Michigan, go there. It's not too far from Frankenmuth. They got decent food. But I worked there for about 5 years, and two of those was during COVID, which is the only reason they paid me as much as they did. So during COVID, right, some laws changed, whatever, to where tips given at the front of the house could be given to the cooks in the back of the house. And since we didn't have a dining room, because it was COVID, our waitresses couldn't really get tips, right? So he changed everybody's pay to the cook wages, which was $15.50 an hour, plus the tips. So I was making $15.50, and then I was getting about $20 a night, and I was working like 4-hour shifts. So not bad, all things considered. There were a couple times that I made a lot more than that in tips, just because like they were special occasions, or random person decided I deserved $50 in tip that night, But it was honestly one of my favorite jobs. The customers were fairly nice. The staff was fairly weird, so, And, my boss would say things like he's held a hotter rack after touching a pizza tray that came out of the oven. So, he touched hotter racks in high school, he says. But it was fun. I liked working there. That was actually my first job as well. That was my first job I ever had. I did not start out at $15 an hour, but he was very good with his raises. It's a very local pizza place, There is technically another Pompeii Pizza, but it is owned by somebody else, so it's not the same. We did own it for a little bit, and then we resold it. So that was its own whole thing. It was very weird. So it's just him and his one little pizza place. He unfortunately passed away last year, the year before. So he ain't here no more. But I moved away before that anyway. And now we live far enough away that it's not worth it to drive 45 minutes to work for 4 hours, Even at that pay. Around here, that pay does not go very far. Things are expensive here. But everything's expensive these days. It just keeps going up and up with no end in sight. But I think, honestly, my worst paying job might have been Walmart. Because they paid me $10.70 an hour. And I worked there for a week. No, I lied. It was Joann's. They paid me like $10.50 because that's exactly what minimum wage was. Walmart paid a whole 50 cents more. I don't know. It was dumb. But I worked at Joann's for quite a while. I say quite a while. I worked there for a few months. Quite a while compared to Walmart. $8 for night shift. Yeah, no. I was doing the OGP is what I was doing at Walmart. Which is the curbside stuff, the people shoppers and the people that bring the food out to your car, that stuff. Or like that ship from store. So I was in that department, and they were paying just minimum wage here. They hired me on as part-time, and then immediately scheduled me for 40 hours a week. And from what I heard from other employees was that, yeah, they will schedule you 40 hours a week, 5 weeks in a row. And then on your 6th week, only schedule you part-time so they don't have to give you full-time benefits. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. Because I told them straight out the gate during my interview that I already work 70 hours a week running my own business. And I only wanted 16 hours, not 40. Not only that, it's the management was all over the place. And mind you, I couldn't get in contact with anybody. I couldn't get in contact with my department manager. I couldn't get in contact with the shift leads. I couldn't get in contact with the HR person. Nobody. Couldn't get in contact with a single fucking person outside of work to even tell them that I had quit.
So I just had to ghost them until they called me and said, where are you at? I was like, yeah, I quit. And they're like, we have to bring your stuff back. And I'm like, I would love to, but I couldn't fucking contact you. So I brought my stuff back, and they weren't even there for me to drop my stuff off to them. Couldn't even quit properly. It was stupid. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I have never had worse management in any of my jobs than at that Walmart. Which isn't to say that all Walmarts are that way. But that one was particularly awful. And I have never quit a job so fast in my fucking life. Second worst Walmart in the US. Good fucking lord, my guy. That sounds awful. Yeah, no, these days I have very little tolerance for bullshit, especially corporate bullshit. I don't care if they think that I'll put up with shit so they can do whatever they want because I need the job. There are other jobs out there. It'll take me a while to get a different job, sure. But I don't really care. You know? It is no longer a 24/7 Wally World, it's a 6 to 22. Interesting. I think, well, ours isn't either. I think most Walmarts, at least up here, are not 24/7 anymore. After COVID, they all switched to short hours. They close by 10 here as well. I think some actually close at 9 for some fucking reason. It's stupid. I miss when they used to be 24 hours, because, you know, I need stuff sometimes. And do you know how fucking hard it is when you're driving across the country and it's 2 a.m. and you have to fucking pee, but for some reason every state has decided that right now all of their rest stops need to be under construction? Exactly, your health is more important than your job, which that was also another aspect of the Walmart job. I do have Tourette's, and the more active and up and about I get, the more likely an episode is going to be triggered, just because, you know, cortisol levels and shit like that. We find that tends to trigger them more for me. So being on my feet 40 hours a week is more likely to cause me to have constant severe episodes, which I don't know how much you know about Tourette's, but that often means a lot of motor tics, and that often involves my head swinging. My neck sounds like Rice Krispie treats 24/7 now. Like, if I just roll my head, it'll just all around. It fucking hurts, because for 4 years straight, I did not have health insurance, which means I could do nothing about my Tourette's. Which is why I have the service dogs. They do actually help with my tics and stuff, and if they can't help my tics, they can at least help me not walk into shelving at Walmart, you know? So that also played a big role in it, was the fact that I just could not be on my feet for that long, doing all that heavy lifting, running around, sprinting across the store. I can't do the fast-paced stuff anymore, not like that. You follow me on Blue Sky? Oh, thank you. I forget that I'm on Blue Sky. I shall follow you back if I remember to after stream. Odds are I will forget, but maybe I'll notice. I have a terrible memory, but I will try to follow you back if I remember to. I gotta remember to buy a mattress. Don't let me forget, guys. When I leave stream, I have to buy a mattress, because our mattress is like 12 years old, and it's so fucking lumpy. Unfortunately, I can't recover from being broke, so me and my 5 chronic illnesses have 2 jobs. See, I'm just perpetually broke. As much as fursuits, you know, sell for quite a bit, after taxes and stuff, it's not as much as you would think it is, considering how long they take. And plus, my suits are not, you know, super expensive compared to some makers. Like, I'm not a big name maker in the slightest, so my suits don't go for 10 grand. They go for like 5 or 6 at most. I upload every 3 days because I'm lazy. I set a calendar thing. That's fair. I upload whenever I remember. You do not want to know how old my mattress is. I'm also perpetually broke. Food banks know me by name. Yeah, there was a while. But the issue is there's not a lot of food banks around where we're at. And the ones that are around here are not fond of queer. So, but we got Snap. We got our Snap, so we're doing something at least. We've gotten really good at getting things to go the extra mile. So it is what it is, you know. It's still cool. Like I like to buy Walmart's rotisserie chickens. Get them cold if you can because they're like $1 cheaper. But even then, you get a whole chicken for $5. Like it is what it is, you know. So I like to divide up a rotisserie chicken, and then you know portion those into little baggies, and freeze them for whatever I put them in later, and then. Oh, that's dumb. You can't get Snap if you're a student? I wonder if that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing here. I think in Michigan you can still get it even if you're a student. But if you're a mother or a minor, you go under a different program that, you know, has different rules for how much you can get in a month. They actually just upped mine. They decided that they owed me money and they weren't paying me enough before, so they gave me a nice big chunk of money. And then they upped my monthly allowance. So, woo! If it wasn't for your zoo, you could work less. Yeah, if only you didn't own, you know, 15,000 animals. Good lord. It's almost like reptiles are expensive. Yeah, I can only do so much about the ads. I need my shoulder to pop. Oh, there it goes. Much better. Though after this ad, I really have to hop out. Irene is ready to call, and I don't think... And I didn't do my... Do your stuff! No! Yeah! I know you can't hear me because ads! Hold on. Hold on, I got this. This is cardstock. Hold on. We're not doing this on cardstock, but I got this. This is a silver Sharpie. No, the ad's just gonna end by the time I actually get anything on this paper. There. Go do stuff! Right as the ad ends. Of course. Talk about timing. I couldn't find a Sharpie that wasn't a silver Sharpie. That was my problem. But go do your stuff. Go do your important things. I will probably be here only for a little bit longer, because I also have other stuff I have to do today. The sun's going down, and I'm sure the doggos would like to go play outside before it gets cold again. You sign your prints with silver. Ooh. I use the silver Sharpie on the darker furs, because it's one of the few colored Sharpies that doesn't bleed. And it's light enough that you can actually see it on darker fur. So, black Sharpie for light furs, silver Sharpie for dark furs. What do you mean in perfect third? This is, first off, not even close to perfect. But it's a habit for me to fold my paper into thirds because I have to mail in so much fucking shit to the government. They always want my info. Always. For everything. For my insurance, for SNAP, all of that. They want, like... constantly. What's your income? Also, you need to prove your income. So I have to send them like all my LLC's information and shit to prove like, hey, this is how much I'm making. That's my super paper. I fold all paper into perfect thirds. I can if I think really hard about it, but it takes a lot of brain effort. Cause like I know like the little rolly trick, but I also did not care because that is now junk paper. I do it by accident. Well, sure. You could double hot dog, but then it doesn't fit perfectly in the envelope. And also that's a hamburger fold. I try not to, and I still do. You're cursed. Like, there's like that one Reddit post. It's like, what if we all do have superpowers, but it's for mundane shit? And it turns out your superpower is just, I can always fold a piece of paper into perfect thirds. Which is very useful for people who want to fold shit into perfect thirds, but I, you know... see how it is, I guess. I wonder, because if you do thirds and you fold it again, does that turn it into fifths or sixths? I mean, it's alright.
You should really go do your stuff. Yes, go, run away. I'm kicking you out of stream. Go do your stuff. Bye, have fun. Yes, thank you. I will. I shall be vibing. I think we're only going to sew another piece or two here. And then I will also be out for the day. Because like I said, the dogs are really wanting to go outside and the sun's starting to go down. So, besides, we usually only stream for about this long anyhow. My back is starting to hurt from hunching. I am crispy crunching all over the place, tell you what. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There's a bit of Bingus fur sticking to it. There we go. Well, yeah. We vibing. We broke, but we vibing. We are doing a lot better this year, so far, than we did last year. Last year we did not sell very well. I feel like I just didn't do as much last year as I normally do each year. Somehow, I'm not really sure how I managed that. This stupid Bingus sticker. She's still here. Bingus is still vibing. She's in the back corner. She's taking her nap. One of these days, I do plan, eventually, someday, to get a GoPro. She probably is uncomfortable, but she's also an idiot, and she insists on laying there. She gets mad if I try to kick her out of the chair, so she gets to lay there, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't make her stupid rules. Those are her stupid rules. She's the one who set them up. I don't know. She's a weirdo. But, oh. Baby Mance has come to lay down, too. Eventually, though, I want to get a GoPro, if not 2 GoPros. We'll see if I can't find some, like, cheap discount or knockoff ones that work really well. Of course, these GoPros really depend on me making decent money off of stream. So, hence the streaming. But, well, not really. The streaming's just for fun. I'm doing this stuff either way. So, I just like to blab on the internet at people because now you guys are here and you have to listen to me and you can't make me stop. You can't. Try it. I'll keep talking all day long. But anyway, so I want to get these GoPros, right? At least 1 GoPro. I would like to get 2 because then we can have like a split camera situation like classic Call of Duty style where it's split right down the middle of your screen. And I want to stick them on the dogs and just let them run around in the backyard. I think that would be a great stream. Because then the dogs get to go outside and have fun, and we still get to stream, and everybody gets to hang out, and the dogs get to run around, and also we get to see the dogs' view of their shenanigans. Because Forrest does a lot of stupid shit. Bingus likes to go eat sticks. Bingus will probably be the least wobbly camera. Forrest is just going to be a blur of motion, just constantly. But you know, that's how that goes. Yeah. He's a big old sprinter. Bingus don't sprint so much these days. She's got arthritis. She's a sore baby. Yeah. Say you're old and you're sore, and that's why you don't work no more. She's still a good girl. She still does stuff at home sometimes, but she doesn't go, she doesn't work in public anymore, because... See? Like a dog GoPro stream would be dope! But Bingus does not work out in public anymore, because it's a lot of walking, and she gets really sore after a lot of walking, especially on the hard floors. So instead she has to stay home, which she very much hates. She misses working so much. You're such a good girl, though. Yes, you are. So you're enjoying retirement, right? You get to lay around all day. You get to eat food. You get to run around outside. Oh, she was very upset when she had to retire. So unfortunately, because like I said, she's how old are you, bitch? She's going on 11 this year. No. She's born in 2014. So she's actually going on 12 this year. When she was 10, so we originally got her as a puppy, as the family dog, right? She was just supposed to be a pet. There was no intent there. In 2020, I started getting my Tourette's symptoms, and they were very, very bad. It was very hard for me to manage them. I couldn't do anything about it.
my parents came up to visit for Thanksgiving, and we found that the dogs, to some extent, helped with the Tourette's. So I started doing research into it, and I saw that people would often do DPT, which is deep pressure therapy, where the dog lays across your lap, and it causes different hormone levels, stuff like that. So I was like, maybe that'll work. And my parents were like, hey, you can take the dog and see if it works. If not, we'll take her back. And I was like, okay, cool. So when Sarah was about seven-ish, she moved in with me in my apartment, and we were training her, and the DPT did work. It didn't work very well at first, but when done consistently, it is a very good preventative for my episodes personally. And it works very well for me. And then if it doesn't work, she's also taught mobility tasks, so she actually has a hard mobility harness that she would wear sometimes if I was having a particularly bad week. And she can help, guide me a little bit. Not very well, she's not exactly a guide dog, but she does know brace and stuff like that, so she can help me stay upright and help me get somewhere that's, safe enough for me to sit down during my episodes. So she's a very good girl. But that means that she went with me everywhere. And I mean everywhere. She went with me to the dollar store, to Joann's, to Walmart. She went with me to my first ever FurCon, which was MFF in 2023. She was not a big fan. It was her first con, and she did amazingly well, but she was just as tired as I was, and she is also apparently terrified of applause. She tried so hard. I felt so bad. We went to this one panel in the main events room, and since their accessibility seating is at the very front, she has a crowd of about 500 people behind her that were clapping every 2 minutes because it was a panel of it was a show of skits. And after every single skit that was less than 2 minutes, people were clapping, right? It was applause. And if I clap, it's fine. She does not care, right? Like, it's whatever. 2 people clapping, that's fine. 3 or more people start clapping, and she's terrified. Like, this dog's fine with a semi flying past her at 50 miles an hour on the side of the road. Not a single fuck given. She's fine with train horns. This bitch is scared of cardboard boxes, plastic bags, and applause. She's gotten better about the plastic bags. She's still very scared of cardboard boxes. I feel bad. I don't know what that's about, but... Because, we had to go to Walmart and do grocery shopping, so she got very used to plastic bags. Especially once when she realized that's what holds all the fun stuff, like toys. But she's scared of applause. So we're in this panel, and I look down, and she has turned herself around, tucked her head under my chair, and is just tucked up, shaking like a leaf. She did not break her downstay. Most of the time, if something spooks her, she would break a downstay and take off, right? I think that's what most dogs do. They get scared, they get spooked, they leave. They run away. But she knew she wasn't supposed to get up, so instead she had just slowly, over time, inched her way under my chair to hide from the applause, and I felt so bad. And, I tried to comfort her, I tried to give her some cookies and, show her that it was okay, and she could calm down. That did not work. She took her cookies, but she was still shaking like a leaf. So we got up and we left the panel early, and I kid you not, we walk out the doors to the auditorium that the panel was in. And she does a big ol' shake off and goes, so what next? And she was happy as could be, wagging her tail, ready to go. And I'm like, bitch. She made me leave a really cool panel just to be perfectly fine the instant we were out of the rooms. I'm like, I hate you so much. But, it was fun. She had fun. We went around the dealer's den and stuff. I have some very funny pictures of her in front of the Bad Dragon booth, looking shocked. That was a big thing, is there was a couple other service dogs at the con that year. I only saw 2 other ones. But we were the only people in the 18 plus section at the time. They card you to get in there, because they do minors at their con, so you are carded to get into the 18 plus section. Which is fine. They take my card wherever I get in. I walk in, everyone's like, oh my god, it's a dog. I'm like, I know, she's only 9. I can't believe they let her in here. Can you believe they let a 9-year-old in here? And then of course we're walking by some of the booths that have the more, animalistic toys. And I'm over here, joking, covering her eyeballs, like, oh, Bingus, that's not appropriate for you. And, the vendors got a kick out of it. Bingus was, just happy to be there. She just likes going places and hanging out. You know, she did get to interact with some people. Some people did ask if they could pet her and whatnot. And, her vest, actually, I had a custom vest made for her that I can go grab it, actually. I can go grab it and show you guys. There is a vest maker in Canada who does some amazing work on service dog vests and assistance dog vests in general. And she has her own personal one that's pink and purple because pink is her favorite color for some fucking reason. But this is my con vest that I got commissioned for her. It has my logo on the back of it, Service Dog Do Not Pet, and it's got my business's colors, the maroon and gold, the red and gold. But the side panels, I had them purposefully leave blank. And of course, now it's got these in-training tags, because this is what we were using on Forest, because I found that people tend to leave a dog the fuck alone if it's red, not if it's a different color. It's stupid. So, you know, this eventually just became the harness that we wore all the time, because I like it, and, you know, it gets people to leave her alone. But we also used this as Forrest's training when he was, you know, a little bit younger, when we still thought that he might actually be good at it. Yeah, you like wearing the vest. You just gotta learn to stop screaming at people, though, when you're wearing it. Yeah, because it's very rude, and you'll get us kicked out of places. It's not appropriate. It's very unprofessional. He's very excited because I got the vest out, and he really wants it right now. He's like, "You're gonna put that on me? You gonna let me wear it?" But you can see, like, on the front strap here, I put my little button pins. And then on these side panels, I would actually put all of my furry enamel pins. And this would get very heavy, actually, if I put too many pins on. So even if you can fill the panels completely full of pins, I would only put like 5 on each side because the enamel pins are very heavy. And I don't want to tire her out if I don't have to, you know, like that's just rude. And she would wear it and be all decorative. It was great for cons because then I could show off my pins without having to spend hundreds of dollars on an Edo bag, you know? It is weird, but I think people just assume that if it's red, it's a medical dog, and if it's black and white, it's a police dog. Any other color, people just act like it doesn't exist, which there are plenty of people that will still see this and be like, "Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see it on her. I didn't see the vest. It doesn't stand out very well." Sorry, Bingus, I kind of just slapped it on. She's a white fucking dog. You can't tell me you don't see the bright red vest on her, or even the bright pink vest. Like, it's dumb. But you want to put this on? You want to put the vest on, big baby? You gonna get in? No, you just want to sniff it? Okay, whatever floats your boat. But this is also specifically the adjustable version, because I wanted it to be able to fit my next service dog, because I knew I was going to have another. So these straps actually are super adjustable. And they fit from like 20 inches to 30 something. And I would have sold it by now, since somebody's probably not going to be a service dog. But it does have my business logo on it, and I don't want to give random people my business logo. That's a bad idea. And who knows, maybe someday Forrest will stop screaming at people and he can actually do his job outside of the house. Yeah, but I think people just assume if it's red, it's medical. If it's anything else, it's purely decorative, which is very annoying. So, yeah. Even if they all say service dog do not pet. Yeah. Oh, the big baby. The big baby with his stupid little stick tail. Hello, baby. Oh, big stretch from the baby. Bingle, your tail is whacking me in the butt. Yeah, you're a good girl, too. But yeah, so she worked for a few years. She did that one con. She could have done a second one. She could have done MCFC for 2024. But I'm gonna need you to fuck off, my guy. I was trying out some new gear for myself to see if that could potentially work in her place. Because taking a service dog with you everywhere is in fact a pain in the fucking ass. It's not... Like, it is fun, because, you know, you get to have the dog with you, you get to have a little buddy, but also it's not fun, because you now have a dog with you that you have to make sure is fed and watered and hasn't shat on the floor. You know, you have to make sure they go to the bathroom frequently, because the last thing you want is your dog shit in the middle of an aisle. That did happen to me once, and that was entirely my fault, not hers. I hadn't let her out that morning, and she tried to tell me. I was not catching on, and then she had an accident, so... That was my bad, not hers, but that is, like, that's the thing. Like, we were at MFF, and we had to go all the way from the convention center to the hotel just for her to go to the bathroom. It's like a 20-minute walk. So I had to leave the convention for her to go to the bathroom. I have to make extra plans when we travel. I have to make extra space in the car for her when I take stuff with me. You know, like, it's a lot of work to go anywhere and do anything. It's like getting a toddler. It's like having a toddler with you, right? They might randomly throw up and shit their pants, but they're a really smart toddler. They do things. They behave themselves better than most toddlers, but every now and then stuff happens. You know, sometimes they kick their shoes off in the car and they gotta fucking strap their shoes back on before they get out because the salt's bad for their toes. Like, shit happens. It's a pain in the ass. So not having a service dog is nice, but also sometimes I really do need a service dog with me. Otherwise, it's just one of those days I can't leave the house, you know? Like, I cannot work a regular job anymore because I don't have a service dog with me. But most people don't want to hire you anyway if you have a service dog. Like, you can't work food service with a service dog. It's just the way it is. Because, you know, duh. You can't have a dog in a kitchen. But she worked for a couple years, and then we moved into this house, and she was actually in this very chair. Mind you, this very chair now has a rug underneath it, because our entire house is vinyl flooring. So it's very slippery. It's the linoleum, it's the vinyl, it's that kind of stuff. There is no carpet whatsoever. So she was climbing out of the chair one day, and she slipped, which she often did, because she's not very good at walking in the first place. She's a very clumsy dog. She slipped. It wasn't a very heavy slip, you know, just... Okay, cool. And then I watch her walk out of the office behind me, and she's now limping. Full-blown her back ankle, something like, fuck. I let her sit for a few hours, maybe she just pulled it, whatever, you know, doesn't go away. So I schedule a vet appointment for the next day. They do x-rays on her. He's like, it's probably going to be a torn tendon, you know, the torn ACL. Like, that's the most common thing, is for them to tear that tendon across their ankle. And I'm like, I don't think so, because first off, it feels very intact, and second off, she's able to put weight on it, she just doesn't want to. And with that kind of tear, from what I saw in videos, those dogs could not put weight on it even if they wanted to. Their foot just straight up gave out because there's no tendon there. I thought she had a sprain. We were both wrong. It was sudden onset arthritis. Odds are she very much already had arthritis in her hips and her ankles and all her other joints, because she was old. She was 10 by then. But the slip and fall had caused a very, very bad flare-up, and she was super, super sore for months. These days she's doing a lot better, especially since she's on a medication now that gives her like extra omega-3s and, you know, helps reduce inflammation, yada yada. So she's vibing real good. She still can't walk that far, though, because she still has arthritis. Even though she's not in a flare-up, she still gets sore. But it was definitely bad enough that there was a while where she was just on bed rest, and she could not do anything. You know, like, she could go outside to go to the bathroom, she was not doing anything else. And she was very, very upset. Like, she was screaming when we put her in her cage, because it's been years since she really had to be left in a cage. She was used to coming with us everywhere. I'm like, you can't come with us. You are currently big ouchies. And then we tried to have her work again when she was feeling better, and we didn't even get 10 feet in the front door of the dollar store. You know, that was supposed to be a small, quick trip, so that way if she did get sore, it wasn't a big deal. She didn't even get through the front doors before she started limping again. And I was like, all right, you can't work anymore. You just can't. Like, she couldn't walk on her own, you know? Like, that was it. And I'm not going to make her... Like, she was very upset by this. Like, she was distraught that she was all of a sudden not able to go places and do the thing. She was also very upset when we got Forrest, and we had to tell her that she wasn't allowed to do the thing at home anymore either, because Forrest needs to learn to do the things. And she was not too happy with that either when we first did that. But she still gets cookies. She gets cookies for not doing the thing now. So if she stays still and leaves it alone while Forrest does the thing, she gets a cookie. And then Forrest gets a cookie for doing the thing. So they're both happy, they're both fine. But it was a big... She still very much wishes, like, she wants to work. She was not ready to retire mentally. But, you know, things happen, and... It is what it is.
But now she gets to live at home and be spoiled. Yes, you do. Look at the baby. You're spoiled with your baby. Saying you still get to go in the car. And you get to go to Walmart. Not into Walmart because she's not actively working. We do not bring non-service dogs into Walmart. That is just wrong. It's also illegal, but also it's just wrong. But we do curbside, so she gets to come sit in the car while we get groceries. She likes being in the car. She likes car rides. Yeah, you like being in the car too, huh? The big old baby. We got Baby Man's just off camera here, staring at me. Oh, sorry, Bingle. I know, I'm rotating. There we go. Yeah. He's staring, he's like, I heard car. I heard car and I heard Walmart. I heard going places. Like, he's right here. He's quite literally right fucking here. Yes, you are. Can I help you, sir? I know, the sun's starting to go down. We really got to skedaddle, actually. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find us a raid. And since the dogs really want to go outside before the sun goes down so they can run around and play and have fun, I will let you guys go and yap for me if you want. We'll see. I got dog fur in my mouth. No, that was fursuit fur. Not fur in my mouth either way. Doesn't matter whose fur it is. Let's go see someone else who's working on a fursuit. This is an 18+ chat, so we're gonna go bug Comet Tails. And then I will hopefully see you guys later this week. I try to stream multiple times a week, but honestly it depends on vibes. So I may or may not stream tomorrow. I may or may not stream Wednesday. Tomorrow's supposed to be a dog a day stream. There might be a stream tomorrow. We'll find out. But I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.